So when we do these events, we do Facebook events, Facebook only. We'll put a big offer out there on Facebook that generates attention. And generally, we like a buyback campaign because people care about their trade-in. They want to know how much money they're getting for their trade-in. And I want to explain to people how we legitimize a $5,000 over KBB offer. Now, here's some secret information for you. You can take the expert advice right here given from Caleb and me and do it yourself. Now, we've had people do that, and then they call us back and say, hey, we want you guys to do it because this is all we do. But if we run a $5,000 over KBB event, here's how legitimate this offer is. It's a fact. You ask any used car manager, I'll ask you, Caleb, is the price of used cars, is the cost of getting used car inventory cheap or very expensive right now?
It's impossible to buy at the auction unless you're willing to. You can throw the book away. That's why the Manheim MMR online transactions, it has a report just like the stock market, and it shows used car values in the last 90 days just continually going up, because to buy a car right now, you have to outbid CarMax, you have to outbid Carvana, you have to outbid these big companies, and they just have a buyer holding their hand up because they can average cost out nationwide against the same type of inventory. So if they buy 3 Toyota Camrys in Charlotte and 7 in San Diego and 9 in Colorado, they can pay more in different areas and average the cost. And that's why these big dealer groups make it almost impossible to buy from the auction. Trade acquisition is the best way. And now some of those secrets real quick before you start, Billy, on how it works is what we do with a trade-in is we take the customer outside. We ask them, hey, what do you like most about your car? What do you like least about it? Do you remember what you paid for it? And they'll say, so here's a good example, Billy. We walk out, we look at your vehicle. Okay, I walk out and I'm like, wow, Billy, this is a nice truck. I'm walking around the truck. What could I tell about Billy Merritt from looking at your truck? What information would I be able to see?
Well, you're going to see feed bags for horses. You're going to see, gas cans or diesel cans. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see that something to do with a dog or a farm or something like that.
So I'm going to see. So I'm going to get a lot of information. So if you walked in the showroom and I greeted you in the showroom, I'm like, hey, welcome to Caleb Wilson Motors. My name is Caleb. Do you like going camping, Billy? That'd be a pretty strange question, right? But if we're out at your truck and you've got the big hitch on the back and you've got campground stickers on your truck, now it's a real question. And obviously you're passionate about that. You want to talk about it. So if we go out in your truck and you've got a Georgia Bulldogs front tag on it, and I'm like, man, we start talking football, I can look at that trade-in and build a lot faster rapport with you and have a real conversation instead of saying things like, hey, man, where do you work at? Are you married? Right. All those questions, because let's say you walk in that store, Billy, and I say, are you married? Just trying to start a conversation, and you just caught your wife cheating on you. Are you going to be real excited about buying that car? You're going to be, man, you're going to be upset. So the trade tells us that. And then let's say I open the doors up and I see 2 car seats in the back. And more than that, one's pink and one's blue. I know you've got 2 kids at least now. I know one's a boy, one's a girl. So we take that trade in, we look at it, and it gives us, and my closer now has really good rapport with the customer right away. And then secondly, we're going to ask you, hey, do you remember what you paid for it? And 90% of customers are going to say, no, but my payments are, right? So I'm like, Billy, that's this is a great vehicle. Do you remember what you paid for it? No, but my payments are $500 a month. And I'm going to say, wow, man, that's a great payment. How'd you get it so low? And you're going to either freak out and go, that's not low, or, hey, well, I had a paid for trade and I put money down. So right then I know Billy buys new trucks. Billy, he doesn't, when I said, how'd you get the payment so low? He said, man, it's killing me. I know that I don't need to go show him something that's more expensive. I need to try to find him something to lower his payment. But he also has to have a truck because he has the feed bags, he has the diesel cans, and I know he buys new cars. I know he had a lot paid for trade-in. I'm looking at the guy, so he probably has pretty good credit, so I can go ahead and start getting my whole deal ready. So now I go as the closer. I'm the closer for Billy Merritt Marketing. I walk up the desk. I'm like, hey, guys, I've got a guy who has a lot of equity in his vehicle. He had a paid for trade-in. He's trying to lower his payments now. He has to have a truck. He likes to buy new. What vehicle do I need to show him that we can make money on and also fit all his needs? So that's what I think our closers are fully trained to do. versus what happens with a new salesman at a store trying to get a trade in from a customer.
Absolutely. And that, like you said, putting that trade in up front, the first thing we do, when do we appraise the cars? Right now.
Right now.
Okay. Putting that up front, it does, like you said, it creates a real conversation, but it also creates a meaningful conversation, not just, something. You're not trying to build rapport. You're having a meaningful conversation about this person's wants or at least needs. And it also puts the emphasis. This is so important. Don't miss this. It puts the emphasis on what the customer cares about. How much are you going to give me for my trade-in? That's always going to come up. It means so much. Let's go ahead and address that. And that's what we do. And then many times they're coming in because we're going to give them $5,000 over Kelley Blue Book for their trade-in. A funny story on that. And a lot of people like to hear this, but when in the early stages of the buyback program, we titled ourselves the Kelley Blue Book Buyback Event. And Cox, you mentioned Cox and Manheim. They also own Kelley Blue Book. They didn't appreciate that we called it the Kelley Blue Book Buyback Program. So I actually they know who Billy Merritt is, Billy from Brockton. Cox from Atlanta knows who I am because I talked to their attorney more than one time. I talked to their attorney when I did a direct mail piece that said the Kelley Blue Book Buyback Campaign. She sent me a cease and desist, and I did. Well, a few years later, I'd forgotten. I swear I'd forgotten about it. So we started doing Facebook events. What do we call them? The Kelley Blue Book Buyback. Yeah.
The mailer. I remember printing the mail for you to match the sale.
Yeah. It was a great event. But anyway, they know who we were. And but we still, I said, okay, so can I mention Kelley Blue Book in the ad? Now, a lot of people loved it when because I was, Billy's getting in trouble. He thinks he's doing something big out there. Kelley Blue Book's going to tear him up. Well, they like Billy. They said, of course you can use our site. You can mention our name. You can't say that you're Kelley Blue Book. No problem. We became the ultimate buyback team. And now we're doing what we're doing. But anyway, we will use third-party resources, and I'll let you talk about that in just a second. But we'll use third-party resources to actually appraise their car. Mr. Customer, I tell you what you do. You take your vehicle, you know it better than me, and let's look at KelleyBlueBook.com and see what Kelley Blue Book says it's worth. And if you go to Kelley Blue Book and you use fair trade-in value after you've done a walk around with this customer and you've pointed out, because hey, we're going to give you real money for this car, so we have to talk about the dents, the scratches, the reconditioning, all the things that it's going to need, the tires, to get it up here at a sellable level. So if you take Kelley Blue Book fair trade-in amount and justify it with that third-party resource, and then add $5,000 to it, you're going to be close to what the car is worth. And here's the deal. If you have to pay a little bit more to get a good trade-in, it's worth it, because if you go to I want to make this point and I'll hush. If you go to the auction, like Caleb said, you're competing against AutoNation, Carvana, CarMax, and they create the market. They don't, yes, they do cost average them out, Caleb, but you have those three powerhouses buying the cars. They just created the market. So now whatever they paid for the car is what it's really worth. And I said I was going to hush. I'm going to use this example. A good friend of mine just bought a Buick Enclave and wrecked it. When he bought it, he's the wholesaler. When he bought it, average trade-in was like $25,000. 6 weeks later, when he wrecked it, ran into the back of a car, the average trade-in value was $3,000 higher. So I mean, it's a legitimate offer, man. And that event facilitator that understands that and is able to explain that to the customer, they love it.